Did you know one bad tank of fuel can damage your motorcycle faster than a year of skipped maintenance? We see it all the time. Bikes that ran perfect before a fill-up suddenly misfire, knock, stall, or refuse to start. Today I'll show you the 11 types of gas stations quietly killing engines, and the 5 that actually protect them. If you want smoother power, cleaner running, and fewer surprise breakdowns, this one matters. The Dirty Terminal Trap, Rust Belt Gas, Co. The first station most riders regret is the visibly dirty one. You know the type. The pavement around the pumps is permanently stained dark brown or rainbow colored from fuel spills that were never cleaned. The handles are sticky. The nozzles leave grit on your glove. The keypad barely works. If a station doesn't care about the outside, imagine what's happening underground in their storage tanks. Inside those tanks, years of condensation, rust, sediment, and degraded fuel create a soup your injectors and carburetor jets were never built to survive. One tank of that sludge can clog jets, coat valves and deposits, and make your throttle response feel like it's fighting resistance. Riders often notice hesitation or stalling within a few days, especially in colder mornings or under acceleration. They blame spark plugs or battery voltage. The problem was bottled the moment they squeezed the nozzle. And that leads perfectly into the next danger, because sometimes the station looks decent from a distance, but the fuel itself tells a different story. The fake octane mirage, Starglow Premium. Some stations don't sell bad-looking gasoline, they sell dishonest gasoline. This is the premium pump that tests lower than advertised. Your bike asks for a specific octane level, not because engineers like fancy numbers, but because your engine burns fuel under compression. If the fuel ignites too early, you get knock, a metallic tapping sound, heat spikes, micro damage inside the combustion chamber. Do that long enough, and you start chipping at engine life itself. A healthy engine should never knock. It should never ping. It should pull clean. Low-octane fuel in a high-compression engine is like feeding your body low-grade oxygen and expecting full performance. The damage starts invisible and ends expensive. Speaking of invisibly harmful fuel, let's talk about the brands that quietly skip a key ingredient your engine depends on. The no detergent slow poison, budget blue fuel. Some gasoline brands cut cost by reducing or skipping detergent additives. You don't see it at the pump, you don't smell it, you don't feel it on day one. But slowly, deposits cling to valves, piston crowns, and injectors. The fuel spray pattern starts to warp. Instead of misting clean and burning efficiently, it streams, drips, puddles, combusts unevenly. Symptoms creep in: rough idle, poor mileage, soft throttle, lazy top end, cold start struggles. Riders waste time replacing air filters, adjusting carbs, cleaning throttle bodies, never realizing the fuel itself is the artist painting carbon into their engine. And while some fuel is chemically weak, other fuel is simply far too old to be inside a motorcycle at all. The Ghost Town Pump, Old Route 60 Petro. Have you ever pulled into a station and realized you might be their first customer in weeks? No cars, no traffic pattern, pale, sun-bleached signage, pumps ticking like museum pieces. Fuel ages. Not just in your bike, but in the station's tanks too. The longer it sits, the more unstable it becomes. It absorbs moisture, oxidizes, degrades, separates if ethanol is present. You might fill up without noticing anything. A day later, your bike starts crank, crank, crank with no fire, or it sputters under load like it forgot how to breathe. That wasn't a mechanical failure. That was expired gasoline wearing a disguise. Expired gas often contains water, which brings us to the single most misunderstood enemy of modern fuel systems. Quick check. Have you ever filled up at a station that felt abandoned or sketchy and your bike ran worse afterward? Drop the station name or your story in the comments. If it messed with your ride, it might save someone else's engine to hear it. The hidden water contamination zone, coastline, fill up. Water doesn't mix with gasoline, it sinks. Fuel pumps suck from the bottom of the tank. See the problem? Water enters station tanks through condensation, bad seals, loose caps, and flooding. Stations located in low areas near coastlines or with cracked fill ports collect moisture like a cup in the rain. A teaspoon of water becomes hesitation. A tablespoon becomes sputtering. A cup becomes a no start. And sustained exposure? Rust in your fuel system, corroded injectors, and clogged filters. Water is silent, invisible, and deeply dangerous. And sometimes, water isn't even the worst mystery in the tank. The mixed mystery fuel market, free flow gas bar. Not all fuel stations operate with transparency, and the worst offenders blur the line literally. Some pumps pull multiple fuel grades through shared hoses with no internal flushing. Others advertise octane levels that change depending on the underground tank blend of the week. Ethanol percentages fluctuate. Stickers that once displayed fuel data peel and rot under the sun. Staff shrug when riders ask basic questions like, is this E10 or ethanol-free? Motorcycle fuel systems are engineered for precision. Injectors, seals, sensors, and combustion timing expect predictable chemistry. They are not built to sample unverified cocktails from mystery supply chains. When a station doesn't track or communicate what it sells, your engine becomes the test subject, and motorcycles never volunteered for that job. Especially when there's zero traceability behind the fuel itself. The no receipt, no proof pump, quick drop express. Fueling without a receipt means there's no record of where that gasoline came from or what was dispensed. No proof also means no accountability. Professional stations track inventory, batch numbers, testing schedules, and regulatory compliance. Stations that avoid documentation often avoid responsibility too. A missing receipt can coincide with old storage tanks, inconsistent filtering, or questionable suppliers. If something goes wrong, contaminated fuel, stalling, engine light, the burden lands on you because nothing links that pump to your problem. Choosing transparent stations isn't about paperwork, it's about protection. When a business avoids leaving a trail, it usually has a reason, and your engine doesn't need to discover it. Because some stations carry a reputation long before you arrive. The repeat offender chain. Road King fuel network. Brand recognition doesn't guarantee quality. In motorcycle circles, certain big names earn an uncomfortable echo. Same station chain, same symptoms, different bikes. Riders compare stories about sudden loss of mileage, rough chills at idle, weak throttle response, phantom knock, and ignition behavior that feels haunted. One incident can be a fluke, 10 can be coincidence, but hundreds form a pattern. Motorcycling communities are decentralized test labs. Thousands of engines report data the only way they can, with performance, failure, and repair invoices. When warnings spread rider to rider across regions without coordination, that collective experience outweighs marketing campaigns. Reputation in this world is built by engines, not billboards. Trust the people who already paid for the lesson, especially when the station's location makes contamination almost guaranteed. The flood zone specials, Bay Bottom Fuel Station. Some stations are built in drainage sinks, long-term puddle zones, or flood-prone areas. Water intrusion in storage tanks becomes a guarantee, not a possibility. If you see standing water around tank caps, drainage grates, or concrete seams, your instincts should scream caution. Your bike needs gasoline, not aquarium conditions. But sometimes the problem is even simpler. No identity at all. The anonymous white pump. No name Petrostop. Unbranded stations hide behind plain white pumps and handwritten price signs. No posted fuel standards. No logo. No supply chain transparency. Buying fuel here is like buying engine oil from an unlabeled jug in a garage sale box. Sometimes the low price reflects lower care old tanks, questionable storage, or inconsistent fuel delivery. Saving a few dollars doesn't matter if it costs a fuel system flush later. Quality fuel leaves a trail of information. Mystery fuel leaves problems. Your motorcycle isn't disposable. Pick stations that treat fuel like something that matters, or you may become part of a local engine horror story. The local legend of engine death, Last Chance Gas Depot. Every region has one. The station riders joke about, but secretly fear. The one linked to breakdown stories, stranded bikes, misfires, and mysterious engine behavior. Legends are born from repetition. If enough independent riders say the same warning, it's not rumor, it's data. Now that we've covered the fuel sources that quietly kill engines, it's time to flip the story. Because the goal isn't fear, it's confidence. These next 5 fuel behaviors and station types protect your motorcycle instead of sabotaging it. The high turnover heroes, Shell V power stations. Busy stations mean rapid fuel turnover. And rapid turnover means fresher gasoline. Fuel that moves fast sits less, absorbs less moisture, and carries fewer risks of sediment, phase separation, or chemical instability. Fresher fuel burns cleaner, supports smoother combustion, and preserves injector health instead of silently deteriorating it. High traffic doesn't just indicate popularity, it prevents fuel aging. The safest gas often isn't just where you fuel, but how fast the fuel flows through the station. But freshness alone isn't enough if the station itself isn't maintained with discipline. The clean standard bearers. Chevron, Clean Ride, Fuel. Clean stations reveal a habit of maintenance, not coincidence. Clear screens, intact nozzles, clean concrete, working payment terminals, and cared-for equipment often mean filters get replaced, tanks get monitored, and contamination gets prevented instead of ignored. A station that maintains what you can see likely maintains what you can't. Cleanliness is not cosmetic. It is behavioral evidence. Still, even disciplined infrastructure benefits from fuel engineered to actively protect the engine. The additive advantage. Exxon Synergy Supreme. Detergent-rich fuel isn't marketing fluff when chemistry supports it. Quality additive packages slowly reduce carbon buildup, clean injectors, protect intake valves, and maintain smoother spray patterns. Deposits may seem small, but their consequences aren't rough, idle, lost efficiency, misfires, and uneven combustion all start at the microscopic level. Good additives work quietly, preventing issues long before they announce themselves. Yet protective fuel matters even more when you know exactly what you're pumping. The transparent octane pros. Sunoco Ultratech pumps. Trust starts with clarity. Separate fuel hoses, posted ethanol percentages, labeled octane ratings, and visible fuel standards remove guesswork at the pump. Transparency eliminates accidental grade mixing, assumption-based fueling, and mystery blends. Precision engines thrive on certainty, not approximation. When a station publishes the facts, it removes the gamble before the nozzle clicks. But specs build confidence only when real riders confirm the outcome in the real world. The rider-approved choice. Mobile MotoGuard stations. This is where engineering meets experience. Riders talk, compare results, and recognize patterns. When the same stations consistently deliver clean response, stable idle, strong throttle behavior, and zero fuel-related surprises across countless bikes and miles, trust isn't claimed, it's earned. Real loyalty isn't driven by branding. It's driven by engines that simply keep running better, longer, and without drama. Because once you know what good fuel behavior looks like, the next step becomes obvious. Learning how to fuel smart, ride smarter, and protect performance before problems ever begin. Now you know the difference between fuel that protects your bike and fuel that attacks it quietly. You know the warning signs, the patterns, the red flags, and the smart choices that save engines and money. Drop a comment below with the fuel station you trust, or the one that burned you. Your story could save another rider an engine rebuild. And if you want to learn the Japanese secrets to make your bike last 500,000 miles, hit subscribe and like so you don't miss it.